After the war was won, Ionis revealed himself not to be the ape that the Monterans had seen smash the tower. He revealed himself to be Ionis Silhavind, to mixed feelings from the Monterans, but he did seem to win them over. We divvied up the gold that was hidden in the barracks below the tower, sharing it equally, or mostly equally, sharing it proportionally between the Lakenhathas and the Monterans. And then we made our way to the hole in Water's End with Felipe Madamba. I said goodbye to Pawson. I don't know that I'll see him again. I certainly hope he goes and takes care of Mr. Percy, though I kick myself for not asking him to do that. Then we made our way into what might be the strangest tunnel I have ever seen, if I in fact saw it. Paintings on walls, time passing without passing, voices muted completely, and somehow the three of us, Abel, Ionis, and myself, made it to the bottom, and we now stand in a giant ladybone-made dome. But we did not make it with Felipe, and we do not know where he is. So I think it is time to find out where we are, where he is, and what comes next. Are you ready for the Dungeon Dads?
Huzzah!
Yeah, baby.
Just along for the ride, but everyone must stand. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna win inside.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to Dungeon Dads. And as always, I'm your DM, Tom Blaylock, and I'm joined by Sam Frank playing the War Cleric of Tempest, Abel Rockbrother. What's up, Sam?
How's it going, guys?
Oh,
I'm excited for this one.
me too. Tim Carr playing the Warlock Filnir Omajira, who's possibly on the lookout for a new patron-ish situation here. What's up, Tim?
Says you.
Yes. I mean, Pawson swallowed that rock, and you've I think you sort of swore to each other. So I don't know what's going to happen with that.
Me neither. We shall see.
Yeah. And John Watson playing the wizard and the would-be king of Monterre, Ionis Silhavine. What's up, John?
Man, I've just been having a good time trying to become king and get people back on my side, and trying to use spells I never used before, like polymorph is awesome.
Polymorph was so good. So good.
And then now we're in some kind of weird dome. I have no idea what's going on.
Well, yeah, let's get right to it. I mean, you guys fell through this hole, but you didn't really fall through it. You were sort of drawn through it. And
I see what you did there.
Oh, you like that? You like that? And then you were deposited at the top of this dome, and all three of you passed your casting stat saving throw. Felipe Madamba did not. And he is still stuck up on the roof of this place. And you, with the aid of the Featherfall wand, you sort of float down to this small island. I say small. It's probably like 20 or 30 times the radius of the hole that you just went through, the tower that you just fell through, of what's sticking out. It has roughly the same curvature as the roof, so it's big. It's big enough that it feels like you're standing on flat ground, but you can look around, you can get the sense that it is actually curved like the rest of it, and it sort of slopes into the water that is here in this giant room, this cavernous top of a sphere that's mostly filled with water. The island that you're on has several tables that look like the sacrificial tables that you've seen throughout the Breen. So you saw the one in the upstairs of the Waterdavian consulate that Galwinia / Jesus was using there. You saw the remnants and the ruins in the tower, the blue spectral tower that sort of raised up from where you planted the spear, and you also saw one underneath the Trip God temple down below. So these are kind of becoming ubiquitous for you all, even though before this adventure you'd never seen anything quite like these. And why would you? You weren't on the lookout for them. Even Abel, sort of. I mean, he'd seen them a few places, but like they're not common. This is basically very regularly on almost a grid on the ground where you were standing are tables like this, and as you sort of look at the island that sort of slopes down to the water, you can see that even as it approaches the water, there are these tables that are actually underwater as well. So this looks like above water, below water, it's all sort of the same shape and texture as it goes around.
Fellas, I've found myself in a lot of strange holes in my life, and this sure beats all.
I agree. I mean, what now? Where's Felipe?
He didn't come through. He was in my arms, and then we fell through. He wasn't with us. Did anyone see him on the dome?
Look up. Look carefully. He's drawn there on the ceiling. When we landed, I saw a drawing of Flawn. Animated, he was moving. And I saw him sort of zip from one place to the other. And it occurs to me that perhaps he took the chest back to Lake and Hearth, and that is what I saw. That he has taken his troops and gone back through the chest that Mr. Percy was guarding. And we can see him using the tunnel that the chest creates, the contrails, I believe they were called. But I do not know if Felipe is there, pointing to where he is, or if
you
that
guys
puts
can
him,
see him drawn up there.
if that puts him in some sort of tunnel that, like the type that Ionis was stuck in.
So, to that point, when I look up at Felipe and when I look up at the dome, is there any recognition from me based on my experience?
You've never seen anything quite like this. I mean, none of you have.
As sure as I'm able. I thought this table's a fable.
Man, he's still
Stop
rhyming.
I mean it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It happens to everybody when they're around Felipe when he casts. It's true. We didn't really get into the canonical nature of that, but it's true. So next time he casts around you, you're going to have to rhyme everybody.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's time for this or not, but those, you said I saw squares on the ceiling of the dome before. Are those sort of permanent fixtures up there?
So, you saw it, and now it's sort of like looking up at the stars in the sky. It's sort of hard to, you kind of know the general area it was, but when you saw Florn and others like whipping through it, it was pretty clear what it was. But now that people are not moving through it, I mean, to give you a good sense of this, there are markings, there are things drawn all over this dome. And occasionally there's things that move. At the hole where you came out of, there are so many people drawn up there that they sort of overlap with each other, and you can still see Felipe up there, but there are 100 others that like are littering that. Like that's the only reason why you can see where the hole is
It's like
because
a
it's in a
stack
circle,
of stickers.
a stack of stickers, around this.
Where's Waldo?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then across the whole ceiling, you have seen something like this actually. John, do you remember when the dwarves pulled out their map? That was the leather map that had the various parts of the Breen drawn on it.
Yes.
So this looks an awful lot like that. The style of it that's up there, when you put your finger on the place of the map and you transferred your thoughts into sort of a photorealistic version of Lake and Hearth and the way to get there, like, and you were sort of transferring your knowledge of it. There was sort of a drawing style that appeared on the map, and like that's what you recognize. It not so much. I mean, this doesn't look like the dome. I mean, the map didn't look like the dome per se, but the way the lines are drawn, the curvature of the contrails that you can now see that are appearing and then disappearing as people are teleporting around various places, which you can see like shooting stars across this dome. That's what it reminds you of.
Okay.
The only thing in your life that you've seen that you can remember that looks like has any reminiscence of this for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just wondering if it mapped out like constellations where there was enough landmarks on there where you could be like, oh, well, I know he went over there, so that's Lake and Hearth. And if I flip that in my head and sort of draw the Breen over it, does it line up geographically or is it totally separate?
So you would have to, I mean, look, given enough time, you might be able to discern some kind of order from it. It seems like there's a logical order up there.
Okay. But I've only seen 2 points that move.
You've only recognized 2 points that of people moving, but that's not a terrible line of thought for sure.
And you said there are altars on the island?
Yes.
Is the island floating in the middle of the dome, or do we feel like we are on a surface?
So it seems like the curvature of the island that you were on is almost identical to the curvature of the dome. So 200 feet from every 200 to 300 feet from all like angles of the island up to the top of the dome, 200 meters. So that's what, more like 700 feet up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to look down at our feet.
Yeah.
Is there anything unusual about the floor that we are standing on?
Yeah. So it is totally black, like onyx, with ladybone veins running green and red.
Can Filnir look around too while we're there and see if it looks like there's anybody else there?
Right now, from where you're standing, you see that there are 7 or 8 of these tables. Give me a perception check.
All right. 22.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So as you sort of look around, you see that there is, in fact, a shape that's over by the water's edge, far to like you're about in the center of this island right now, and if your cardinal directions are still holding up from when you were above land, it's almost due south of you. There is a shape that is sitting, looks like a humanoid creature in a cloak, sitting with like their back to you on the water's edge.
Okay. I'll
right
untie
next to one of these tables.
I'll untie the rope from myself, and I'll give them a visual indication and point them towards it without making too much noise.
You guys see it. You guys see this. It's hard to tell how big it is. Medium sized.
And how far?
From you, probably 400 feet.
And how far apart were those the tables you
Hello
said?
there. Be ye friend or foe, weird shape.
The thing moves his shoulders, turns around and looks back at you, and you recognize the woman's face. You're looking at Syl Moonbrook.
Damn.
Gentlemen, you decided to come to the center of the world, I see.
Syl Moonbrook, what are you doing here?
Felipe told me he was going to take you here, and where is Felipe?
I point.
I think we all three point simultaneously.
He did not make it through the dome.
Oh, shit.
We know not why. Do you know where he is?
Yes, I have to go to the temple, and she disappears, and she appears drawn about the middle of the roof, and you see her as she slides across the roof, and you see her make it to him, and the two of them sort of get in profile, and you see that she hugs him, and then they slide back to where she originally appeared, and then she disappears, and she reappears on the island next to you all. And Felipe is there, and he is out of breath. He's, oh, gentlemen. Oh, how many years has it been?
Since we last saw you.
Yes, you look brilliant. Look at you, Ionis. Look at you. You haven't looked better in your life. Filnir, I thought half elves age at the Abel. What trickery is this?
I clasp him by the shoulders. So the vision never dies. Life's a never-ending wheel, Madamba.
I don't understand, Syl. Syl. Yes. You were stuck in the contrail, Felipe. But why? It was many years. Look at me, I have regained my powers. And he holds his hands up, and his hands are begun to flame, and he produces this like small orb of fire in his hands, and he says, "It doesn't even take a bit out of me to do this." And he drops it in ground.
Oh, we could have had a rest.
Felipe, he's flabbergasted. He says, but it doesn't. Can that happen? Can one feel like they have been on the contrails for 10 years?
Guys, I feel like maybe we trusted him to know what he was doing, and that may have been a mistake.
I can remember. Oh, goodness. Talking told me what to do, and it's been so long. Syl, do you think you could bring Nimrod here? Yes, but you said your powers have returned. Why would you want to go through with this? I must free my friend. I do not wish him to languish inside the blade. Filner, do you still have Quiet Dark?
Yes, I do.
Kegaset must be freed. Well, do you have to die, old friend? And he looks over at you, Filner. He says, my word is my bond. I told you that I would aid you. Just because I have lived many years since I made that promise, I still will aid you. Someone must take the place of my dear elven friend.
I am stunned that you could live for years in the state you were before. For us, it's been moments, perhaps several minutes, but certainly less than an hour, if my inability to cast is indication of anything.
Sil, is that true? Has it only been moments? Yes, he says. Felipe.
She's so annoyed.
Felipe, the mind plays tricks on you. There's no way you've been in there and even been perceiving time for 10 years. Did he cast before he came down here?
He did.
Felipe?
Quite an impressive spell at that.
Yes. Felipe, can you cast? You told us all that you were dying. I thought perhaps I was, but I was able to resurrect some 27 Lakenhothers. Jesus Christ, Felipe.
Of the Orc Wars?
Yeah.
Listen, man, I'm don't say his name 3 times. I'm worried that guy'd show up.
I apologize. It's just a saying we have in the Breen after all that he's done. Could you please bring Nimrod Tolkien, my dearest Sil? God. I'm going to go back to Faerun when this is all over, and I'm never coming back to this stupid place. And she disappears, and you see her appear on the roof again, and she zips. And this time it's weird because she zips to one side of the room and then she zips back to the center and she goes around the circle multiple times, around and around and around, and then she disappears again. Felipe says, "Yes, I was just pulling her leg. I know it's only been a few moments."
And you've been able to cast the whole time.
She doesn't like me very much, and I thought maybe if she thought I was dying, she might be more amenable to some of our particular needs. I was very hopeful she'd be here, and now I know that she does care, but I'm not sure she will care when she comes back and finds out I have been pulling on her very beautiful long leg.
Felipe, why do you treat her so?
We have a long history. I guess I just think she deserves it.
She deserves you fucking with her.
Yes, well, she abandoned Zeherlith and I. And I'm not sure I'll ever forgive her for that.
Something occurs to me as you've been talking here, Felipe.
Yes.
We were offered the chance to use Sil as a mighty weapon in exchange for keeping her prisoner, subordinate to our will. And we freed her rather than do that. I don't know why we're doing any different with you.
I'm not sure what you're saying, priest.
I don't like the idea that our power can only be derived by having souls enslaved to our will, trapped in these blades.
Nimrod seemed to think the only way to remove a soul was to replace it.
Well, you know, Nimrod's been around this valley a long time. So I say this with all due respect. I think that guy's a fucking idiot.
He is the hero of the Breen Valley. How could you say such a thing? He could bring down the very walls of Hark if he chose to. He could bring down Adair. He could tear apart the center of the mountain of Monterre City itself.
I feel like last time I got a good look at the guy, he was beating his useless fists against a giant stone pyramid that ran up out of the ground.
And as you say that, Sil Moonbrook reappears with a tiny little dark gnome, Surf Nerblin himself, long ass ears, in a cloak. No! What are you doing to me? You evil Nimrod Tolkien will kill you. Nimrod Tolkien will kill you, Jumper. And he like pulls back like he's going to cast at her, and she disappears and reappears on the ceiling and disappears and reappears behind him.
I just do a booming thaumaturgy voice.
How's your mummy, Nimrod?
Oh goodness, it is you three. Oh, okay. Felipe, good day. Hi, good to see you. Nimrod, I'm glad our paths have crossed again. I'm not, Sil says. Do your dirty work, and let's move on with our lives.
Listen, I think the three of us should just stay quiet and let the three of you hash this out.
Sil, if he makes a move, I will shoot him with my firebolts. I don't care. Kill him if you would like to. No, Sil, darling. I'm telling you, humans, half-elf, stay your ground. I have a fireball queued up inside my little hands. And he wiggles his griggly finger.
No, Jonas, not a word, Jonas. Let them handle it. They've got to come to terms themselves.
God damn it.
Don't intervene, Jonas. Filnir, I can see on your face you want to.
Felipe, I will leave you up on the roof. That goes for you too, Nimrod. No, how will I ever escape? Wizard, I have something for you. And he produces from his cloak, he pulls out a spell book and he says, from your defeated, I have it for you. I can't raise force against my brethren here, but perhaps you can. Trade for a trade, a book for a life, hey? Eh?
Nimrod, I think I've had about enough of you.
How is that even possible? We've barely met.
And every time it's in poor circumstances.
I still have some beans. Here. Would you like my magical beans? Here they are.
We still have some of your magical beans.
How is that possible? I've seen your character sheet. They're not written there.
I have 4 magical beans from the 8th incident in my journal that I got into with these fellas.
Felipe, Nimrod, do your dirty work, and let's be on with it. I cannot believe you have brought me here to the center of the earth. I swore I'd never return. Felipe? Yes. You aim to actually kill yourself? You said it was the only way to free. I said come to the center of the earth and replace the soul that's in the sword. That is easily done without dying if that's your goal. You need only ask for a boon from the octopus god Ehi herself here. You may speak directly to her, but only in your dreams, and she will just grant wishes. She will speak to you. She will give you the knowledge that you desire. Perhaps she will free your friend. It was in her name that all of these charneled weapons were made, except the ones that were made for the rock. So I assume she can also free them. And he pulls out a locket and he says, for instance, Mother isn't here. I wished for her to preserve Mother so that I can speak to her anytime I wish. But unfortunately, I have no way of producing my mother from this locket. She said there was some way. She described in riddles what to do, and I have no way to get her out, but perhaps since we are here, I can ask her the very question.
Do you recall those riddles?
I have what is known as an eidetic memory, which means I sometimes forget things, she said.
Not episodic enough,
Idiot,
perhaps.
man, I swear
It's
to
not
God.
episodic enough. She said, "From the wood of the earth and the rock comes a man who can call your mother if you wear her around your neck."
Interesting. Is that all of it?
That's the whole thing.
Hmm.
Rubbish, but I can't throw away Mummy. I see the little glow here. He holds it up. He says, "I can see the little glow here, and I know she's there, and I know she's listening and hearing me, but I cannot speak with her."
And how long have you held Mummy's soul in that locket of yours?
Let's see, what year was the Battle of the Bands? How many years ago was that?
It's quite some time.
Anyone know?
Isn't it like 30-something years ago?
Carry the one.
2
I
years ago.
I thought the bands was 2 years ago. It was when
2 years ago.
I
don't
was
know.
sent in the portal, and then the Battle of
Yeah.
the Bands happened, and then
Oh,
I
that's
popped
right.
out.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago was the Battle of the Bands. I've had Mummy for 77 years.
It's much easier when you know where the 75th lands.
So,
Well, what are we doing here? What needs to be done with this? And I'll pull out the sword. Quiet dark.
okay, well, the reason why there's all these tables here is that it does require more than one. But when I came down, I brought several other casters with me. We all begged to Eahai for various boons, answers to questions. Unfortunately, she does not always answer the question that you ask, but sometimes answers a question you did not ask, but should have. Each one of you must go to a table, choose the one that calls to you, and put something of great value to yourself upon the table. And then, Eahai willing, she will take your consciousness away from you, and you may speak to her. One thing, you need to be able to breathe underwater. I don't know if you can tell, and he points around, he says, this island that you're standing on spins, and it will be underwater within an hour.
And what if we have no wish to speak to Ehi?
I do not know why you are here then.
I did not know why I was here either.
Well,
aside from promises Felipe made.
I believe our mission has changed. Originally, we meant to preserve Felipe's life in whatever way we could, and frankly, and I look at Jonas, preserve his ability to help us in our fight to free the Breen Valley. But now look at this gnome. He looks 100 years younger. I sort of slap him on the back a little bit.
the contrail was good for me, Abel, and he winks at you.
But, well, see, he's still got a little sting of pang of conscience about his friend who's stuck in the blade, who he was going to get out of there. I think at this point, I think we just want to help him free this guy.
Well, I think you should do that then. That's the tax. You must put something important to you on the table. You must each choose a table.
If
you
I'm
have to lay
able.
down. You don't have to lay down on top of it. You may lay down next to it. Is it within any of your powers to breathe underwater?
No.
Ah,
No, and I have to admit, I'm reluctant to put myself in Ehai's power, beloved of the mountain as I am.
As am I.
I open up Gale Neverwinter's spellbook.
yeah. Among other spells, water breathing is in said spell book, and I'll tell you what, I'll give you a chance to cast it as though it was your own ritual spell here if you want to start doing it. Yeah, you can. This is what level is this? This is
3.
third level. So it's a DC 13 intelligence check. You can use Arcana. You have proficiency in that, right?
I do.
Yeah, you can use a DC 13 Arcana check to cast it. It'll take 10 minutes to cast, and if you fail, then you'll have to take another 10 minutes. You can just keep futzing around
Yeah,
with it.
I'll keep messing around like I did the tiny hut the first time.
Yeah.
I believe I may be able to help with that. Just one question. The item that is of import. What happens to that item once we speak with Ehi?
When I did this, I brought my very favorite staff, and I put my very favorite staff upon the table, and I asked Ehi, none of your business what I asked her for. And when I awoke, oh, I've already told you, mother. I asked to put mother in the locket. And when I awoke, the locket was there, and my staff had this written on it. And he holds up his staff, and it's just a bunch of letters in Undercommon. He says, it's a very weird riddle or poem of some sort. And I read it, and after I read it, I heard a voice ringing through this room, using some of the words from the poem to tell me an answer to something. And then I disappeared, and I reappeared back at home. I was not even... It was where I wanted to be. I wanted to be at home, but I hadn't even been thinking about it. And then I was in my lovely little hut, and there was a pot of tea on the fire, and no time had passed at all since I jumped down the hole.
And your staff worked perfectly.
It still works. It's a lovely staff. If anything, it's harder than it was. Can you believe it? Like a diamond in an ice storm.
Do you have any experience with those beloved of Donatus interacting with Ehi? Does she hold ill will?
Very common misunderstanding. Ehi and the mountain are lovers. They exist together and always have. They have their spats, but they coexist. And there's even been a warlock that I know of who prayed to both of them. Interesting. True.
You don't say.
Filnir, your powers, they still confound me. I'll be over here. And I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start trying to cast this thing.
Nimrod,
Yes.
are you able to cast a magic circle?
It is within my power, yes.
Would you like to speak to your mother?
What? Very much so.
Well,
How?
I cannot cast a magic circle at the moment. I need a proper night's rest to be able to do it again. But if you can cast the circle, I have this staff. And I am beloved by the rock, as you say. Would that you hold it out, I can turn myself into a vessel for your mother. And for a short while, you can speak to her.
Half-elf, is this true? Have you done this before?
I have.
Then I guess there's no need for me to stay here because I can get what I want without the aid of the octopus god. And he begins casting magic circles. That's a 10-minute casting, isn't it?
Yeah, let me check. I'm happy to do it for you once we get what we need.
Agreed. Good half-elf. Might I see this staff that you say can help me speak to my mother?
Yeah, it's a 1-minute casting, so it's actually not too long.
Okay.
And I'll pull the staff out.
No, don't do it, Filnir.
He looks
Don't
around.
show it to him.
He
Tricky
looks.
goddamn gnome.
What's your passive perception?
15.
Okay. Let me see.
Mine's 18, and I'm watching Nimrod like a hawk.
I'm not standing next to him.
I know. Okay. All right. Sorry, what's your passive perception again?
15.
15. Okay. His hand is at his side, and he begins to move his fingers around a little bit. And Abel, you see a blue hand appear right behind Filnir, and it begins to make its way around. And Filnir, you see this like blue mage hand, like coming into your to your purview.
Look out, Filnir. I think it's trying to take your pants off.
and it disappears. And he says, I, old habits die hard.
Nimrod, I will tell you one thing, and I will tell you this once. The gifts from the tree only work for those who they were given to.
That does explain a thing or two. There was a man who I stopped permanently, you might say, who was carrying a leaf from the tree, and it was giving him great powers. And it's just this, and he holds it up, and it's just a plain leaf. I don't understand. Why won't the tree give to me? I have been to the tree many times.
Perhaps you seek something from the tree, and that in itself is the problem.
Very well.
Nonetheless, I am happy to oblige you and your wishes, assuming we can remove the soul from Kegaset, and it probably would be best to do so without taking Felipe's life.
And that's your conditions for letting me speak to my mother, is that correct?
Give me a moment, and I'll pull Abel and Ionis aside. Is there anything else I'm forgetting? What else
I
do we
wasn't
need?
paying attention. I was reading this book.
Sorry.
It goes off. You can get the water breathing.
Okay,
John.
fantastic.
We get what we came here for, and we let this guy talk to his mom. I feel like that's a pretty good deal.
I will let Nimrod speak to his mother as you once spoke to your father, using the staff. We need a way out of here, and we need to satisfy Felipe's desire to get his friend out of Kegaset. That is why we came here, I think, but what else is it that we need while we are here? Especially from Nimrod.
Yeah, I think you're right. Just his word that he will help us with
Is
Felipe
there anything
without
else?
killing him.
Is there anything we can ask of Ehi?
I'd love to know more about.
I'm
Pause,
still
damn
worried
it.
Ehi's trying to drown the valley.
Who's the drow, Tom?
Basil of Luatil,
Yeah.
No, Bezalel, yeah.
I'd
the
love
white lady.
I'd love to know more about Bezaleth Luatil, who or what she is, what she wants. Maybe how to free my brother.
Yes.
And you see Nimrod and Felipe chatting as Felipe is getting ready over on his table, and he pulls his boots off. They are beautiful. They are clearly made out of crocodile. And he puts those up on the table, and he says, Filner, if it's not too much trouble, could you please put Kegaset up here on my table as well? And Nimrod tells me that you are in the need of a soul and that I will not be taking the place of Kegaset. There are two options as far as I can see it. Nimrod's mother could take the place. No. She will not take the place in that sword. Then there is a soul we do not know that is here with us.
Is there?
The ring.
Oh, yes. Ionis, your ring.
Oh, do we know who is in this ring?
There's only one way to find out.
Fellas, we will not imprison an unwilling soul in this blade. If we cannot free the soul inside, then we may allow Felipe to take the alternative of saving his friend at the expense of his own life. But I will not consign an unwilling soul to this endeavor.
Well, perhaps that magic circle could be put to more than one use.
Oh, I almost forgot. I'm going to look down and try to read the words that are on my arm.
Oh, yeah. So remind
yeah.
our listeners when that happened. This is, you got poisoned.
I got poisoned by Grumsh / Willem the Wet, and then had a little commune with Tempest, and the poison that was turning my arm black turned to spell out letters, and I never looked down and actually tried to read what they were because we got all caught up in some other stuff.
So it is a spell, and it is how to cast a spell that will trap, imprison, and otherwise send to the rock Grumsh and free
Okay.
Tempest.
All right, not relevant to our current circumstances. Just wanted to have
Unless-
that piece of information.
Unless Grumsh
Sorry,
made his
guys, I
way.
got distracted looking at my arm here. What was I saying?
Did Grumsh not jump into the water when he escaped the tower? Should we be sure he is not also hiding down here somewhere?
I make
Syl, have you seen anybody else down here?
That guy is real good at hiding.
He would be wet or perhaps look like an orc.
No, I arrived here only moments before you arrived, and then I decided to do what I'd always wanted to do, which was put my feet in the water of the center of the earth. It is not like other water. It feels slimy, but comforting. It's quite odd. We'll all be under it soon if we do this ritual.
insight
I've been
check.
under it twice.
9 insight check.
What are you trying to get insight into?
Is she telling the truth? Is she hiding anything? Is she Grumsh?
Yeah, okay. Maybe? You have more
Now you're all
questions
sus
than
about it.
answers. Yeah, you have more questions than answers, yeah. Although you did see her jump and appear on the ceiling, and it was her form that was on there.
Right. And she's doing all the Syl things, but
Maybe it turned out Grumsh was the friends we made along the way.
Felipe, is it truly your wish to inhabit this blade?
I do like life, but the one inside made a sacrifice which allowed me to stay out of a situation very much like this for a very long time. And it is only fair, if there is no other way, that I occupy the blade.
Is there any other
All you
way?
have to do is ask.
All right.
All you have to do is ask, Ehi. Felipe, if you say, free this soul, and if you can't free it, then let me take its place, then you give Ehi 2 options. I guess that's true. Do you have any way of knowing who is trapped inside that ring of Ionis's? I do not.
I may have a way of finding out. It may take time, though.
Have you spoken to it, Ionis?
I haven't. I'm going to put it on.
Okay. It's pretty clear it's going to take time to attune to it. But you don't hear any voice at all when you put it on. But it does become invisible when you put it on. You can still feel it. Yes.
Do you have any ideas about how to save Schnobik?
Well, that's the funny thing. I think you'd have to say, wrestle him away from Beslith. Because I don't think saving makes it sound like what he wants is to be wrestled away from Beslith. And I don't believe that's true.
I see.
I can
Would
see
Ehi-
you're wondering, what is Beslith?
Yes, that is another question we've had that I would love answered.
Beslith was a powerful elven wizard, a Moonbrook wizard. She used to inhabit this very room from time to time, monitoring the contrails the way Moonbrook elves did. When Moonbrook was defeated by Monterre and the dam was broken, allowing the water to flow freely out to the ocean, she became a vampire. She did this of her own free will to become more powerful than she was before. She tried to raise an army of demons and vampires to take on Monterre, and she failed time and time again. And then she went to Gilbrain Wilds, not too long ago, where I even felt the light go out from fair Beslith Lultal. Her children were set free, as is the custom when vampires die. And then a year later, she reappeared, reanimated as it was. I have a theory. The Moonbrook elves of old have moved what's remaining of their sad little tribe to the Gilbrain wilds, and rather than flourishing in the trees and practicing their nature magic that once led them down this road of destruction, they've turned to technology. And I believe Beslith Luatul is a reanimated construct. I believe her mind is there. I believe she is still the personality that she once was. But I believe what powers her is a heart of stone turned magic, a clockwork of gears and other things.
If this is the case, how could she possibly hold sway over so many?
Force of personality, I believe. And Schnobik is a vampire. And I think she loves him very much. And I think he loves her. I believe they don't even realize. Heinrich doesn't even realize that the magnetism that pulls him to complete a tower, much like this one, below the Briar Wall, I think he believes it's Beslith Lultal. I don't believe it is. I believe Schnobik has the power to control and call them. I don't even know if Schnobik knows he has that power.
No. No, I refuse to believe that.
It's just a theory. But one thing I will say. What's left of the Moonbrook elves deep in the Gilbrain wilds? For 300 years, they have thrown themselves into a new kind of magic. One that is not easy for me to understand. The methods, the power. They play with the weave of magic, but not in the way that we do, Jonas. Not the way you do, Abel. They play with the weave in a very different way. They're building teleportation circles that don't appear on this map. They're building devices that throw fireballs the way you throw fireballs, Jonas. And they can carry them in their hands and give them to the lowliest foot. The question I have, what happens when Beslith fails to drown the valley and the Gilbrain elves decide they need to come and finish the work that she could not finish? That's my question.
I would love to know what Ehi thinks of all this as well.
I do not believe Ehi is a fan of mechanized magicians.
That would seem to be true. And if so, maybe we could gain her favor as well.
Ehi probably does, though, very much want to have a larger hunting ground than she has now. She may be willing to make a pact with someone who was willing to build the dam over at Popper's Pass, which the Monterans destroyed many, many, many years ago, draining the valley. She might even make a deal with Beslith, but I don't think she'd make a deal with the Moonbrook elves that abandoned her. and haven't come begging back for forgiveness.
Do you know why the Monterans destroyed the dam?
Yes, of course. They knew that that's where the power of the Moonbrook Elves came from, was directly from Ehi herself. And Ehi doesn't care. She's like the mountain. She grants her power to anyone who does the motions. And he moves his fingers, and he says, and says the words, "Oh, Ehi, come save me," or whatnot. What is a god? Why would a god care? And the Monterans figured out.
Boy, question of my life.
Don't I know it? Look at you carrying your god in your backpack. Don't think it has escaped my purview to know that you have found the Stone of Grumpsh. You carry it now with pride.
Bit of a reversal of fortune.
Do you think Tempest knows that he's in a tiny little ball carried by his tiny little priest? I mean, relatively tiny, of course. No offense. Human.
Well, I'd be tempted to say it doesn't make him happy, but I've never known him to be happy about anything for a minute in his whole miserable existence.
That might be true. Maybe the goal here is to unleash the fair-minded Tempest on the Breen Valley, and at least let the honorable combat take the valley. Trust me, what is coming is not honorable.
All
What do you
right.
mean, what is coming? The flood.
Every side in this battle, in this war, wants things to go their way, and none of them have honorable combat as a top priority.
Fair enough.
Felipe is all set up,
Nimrod, do you know the way out of here once we're finished?
and he uses his thumb, and he goes, he motions over at Syl Moonbrook, and he says, "I think the only way I can get out is with her.
Yes, and for the rest of us.
Half-elf, you set me free once, I'll take you out of this place as well."
That includes Abel and myself.
Yeah. Listen, yeah, I'll take you out. And Felipe looks up at her, and she says, "Don't push it, Felipe."
If you two have boons, you would ask of Ehi. Undertake the ritual. I might myself, but I'll be damned if I let Nimrod Tolkien and Syl Moonbrook be the only people looking over our unconscious bodies.
I agree.
I have the same concerns.
But if you two would like to lay down on a table if you're able, I'll watch over you.
I will go.
Nimrod sort of, I mean, obviously he knows a lot. He's only done this once.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, put something that means something to you on the table, and don't lay on it. No, Jonas, nope. Lay down next to it. There's always a chance that what's on the table will be destroyed. From what I understand, it has happened in the past. Sometimes people ask big questions, big boons from Ehi, and it takes a little bit of love to implement. Yes, Ehi does not ask for life. She does not ask for blood, though many have brought her blood in the past.
I'm gonna roll an insight check real quick
Okay.
on Nimrod's feelings for his mother.
Okay.
20.
So you probably need to ask him about his mother, but I will let this insight check count toward.
Well, just, that he had been when he was talking with Filnir, this is sort of a retroactive insight check, right? That when he was talking with Filnir about his mother and making the trade for being able to talk to her, did I get the sense that that was a real motivation for him? That was really something that he he would be motivated by.
So he clearly wants to talk to the person in the locket.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Is that good enough?
Yeah, I was trying to gauge how likely I felt that he was going to keep up his end of the bargain and not feed us false information. And I feel like that was a better way to get at that question than
Yeah.
saying, I roll an insight check on what he's telling Jonas right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with a 20 insight check, it's not about love, but it is a very large
But there was
desire
a
for him.
glint in his eye when he learned that could be
That
possible.
Filnir could bring him
Could make
this,
that happen.
This could make this happen. Yes.
And clearly he knows that he needs Filnir to do it because of his experience with the leaf.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. John, what were you going to say?
so on the altar, I'm going to take out the wand that I received from Donatus. For two reasons. One, it may not mean something to me, but it's filled with my essence.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever spells I've cast,
Mm-hmm.
it is now humming with energy that I created.
Mm-hmm.
And because in a way it is also a boon for Ehi, because it comes from this being that she coexists with, that whether it's her lover or not, if she hates him, she can destroy it. Awesome. If she loves him, it's also of him.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, that's good. And how about you, Tim?
So I'll put Kegaset down next to Felipe.
Yep.
As requested. I've been looking over my character sheet to figure out what it is that Filnir has that's important to him. And I feel like, I don't know that I have these written here, but I feel like he still has... Did I give away those emeralds that I had with Paraso? I don't have it on here, so I can't remember.
I think you got rid of the emeralds.
You might be right.
You do have the letter. You do have the letter that Edgar wrote to you.
Yeah.
Accepting you into his service.
Yeah. So I think that would be the most important thing to him. I mean, the staff has come to mind as something that's important too, but then obviously if that gets destroyed, that fucks his whole promise to Nimrod. So I would put the letter down.
Filnir, let me know if you want some of these magic beans.
I think it best we not bring up another pyramid where we stand.
I feel like they're good for, paying for magical things.
Fair enough. I think I've got it.
And then you see that Syl goes over to one of the tables and she has a it's a rope necklace, like a braided necklace that she pulls out, and she's got a little sack that's a tiny little leather sack in it, and she pulls out 2 gold coins and puts them down on a table, and she sits down next to the table, and Nimrod pulls out his locket and he says, "Maybe I won't even need you." And he puts his locket on the table and he sits down next to it. And Abel, you said you're not doing any of that stuff?
Nah. Everyone seeks to commune with Ehi, huh?
Well, why not? We're here.
Fair enough. Still, I can't imagine these tables have good associations for you. I respect your bravery.
If this god can take away the scar that I have from the years of monitoring the contrails, then I will be very happy to have laid upon one of these tables again. And she sits down. and you still feel that the island still feels fairly stable, but you can tell now while you've been talking and going through these motions that the water line has changed. It has continued to move toward you. And it's weird because the top of the dome has shifted, and you realize that the whole thing, the dome, is moving top and bottom seemingly at the same pace. So there's new points that are now like on the eastern horizon of the sphere that are popping up, and more bodies. And you can see that there's another area that's a dark hole of bodies drawn on there that looks like yet another one of these downspout like light wells that you guys traveled through. And you can fail this saving throw if you choose, but I have a Constitution saving throw that you all need to make as the island turns. There's a small it's like a fog that is coming up from the water as you approach it. So Constitution saving throws, you can fail it if you want to.
Phil, if you wake up at home in your bed, you come back and get us.
I will. I promise.
I'm staying away from the fog. I'm walking, to stay in the center of the island.
Okay, so your friends are about to disappear underwater. John, Tim, do you guys want to make a saving throw or no?
I'm not going to.
I mean, I feel like this is part of the thing. But I am going to make a throw because I think
Okay.
Filnir's still
yeah,
sort
like
of
what the fuck is
undecided
going on
about,
here? Yeah.
Yeah, about this relationship between Ehai and Donatus, and if they're actually friendly or if this is putting his life at risk. I rolled a 19.
All right, so you the fog begins to enter, and this is true for you too, Jonas. Like the fog enters your breath as you breathe in, and it smells it smells a bit like sugar baking or sugar starting to burn. So like getting hot. The fog is hot, but it's sweet, and it's sticky sweet. John, you enter in this like super surreal dreamscape where you're floating in a pink ball and you're surrounded by other pink balls. And Filnir, you start to choke on the water as it comes in, and it's weird because you're still getting oxygen, but you feel the water like entering your lungs, and it is very off-putting. It's weird because you're still breathing okay, but you're also choking on the water. And you can get up or you can stay in it. It's coming in, and it feels wrong, but also it's fine. Also, you're fine.
So it's like that scene in The Abyss.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Yes,
right.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
That's a horrible scene.
Yeah, I think Filnir might panic a little bit.
Yeah.
And grab the letter and get up and run off to Abel.
All right, Abel, you see Filnir starting to totally
Hold
freak
him
out.
down.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah.
It's okay, Filnir.
I think it doesn't feel right. Maybe it's the connection with Donatus. I don't know.
Well, listen, if there's one thing I've learned about communing with gods, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it.
Yes, we'll meet them on the other side, I suppose.
All right. So you guys are sort of walking on the thing. All right. So I'm gonna get to you, John, in a second.
Okay.
They've all disappeared, and as this thing turns, it's about 45 minutes in, and there's suddenly a section that there's no longer any of these tables. The ground changes. So it's no longer sort of hard black onyx with these ladybone things in it. You see actually this very weird, as it as it turns toward you, there's white, like bright white on the floor, and and as it turns, you have to like walk on it, and you sort of start to sink into it, not like mud or something, but it's like it's soft ground, very soft ground and wet, and it continues going, and then there is like a blue and pink, very like 10-foot wide ring that sort of passes under you, and then it's black again, but like soft, and your foot goes into it. And when your foot goes into that black area, it's like it was in the tunnel again, and you are drawn in it. And I need you to both give me Constitution saving throws. DC 15.
Oh, geez.
I got a 2.
Okay.
Yeah, my chances on this are not great. 19.
Okay.
Whew.
So Filnir disappears into the water from the very middle of this thing, and you can see him drawn up on the roof above you again. And Abel, you hear just booming in this room.
Priest, why are you standing on my eye?
I knew it.
Oh, damn.
Big old octopus eye.
Priest, it doesn't feel good. Move off of my eye.
Where else would you have me stand? It's water everywhere.
Priest, get into the water.
I'm
It
wearing
does
all this
not.
armor.
Priest, you'll float. If you would like to stay above, do one of your special abilities to keep yourself above the water.
Yeah,
But
okay.
do not stand on my eye.
Can you give me a few minutes?
And
I'll swim out. I'll get out in the water.
you see, so as you start to get out, you start to go under, and good thing, because as you are like wading out into the water and getting off of her eye, you see drawn on the ceiling this long tentacle that starts to move on the ceiling, and it wraps around the drawing of Filnir and pulls it out into the 3-dimensional space and puts it into the water down under. And give me one more Constitution saving throw, Sam.
Who, me?
Yeah, as you get into the water.
Natural 1.
Okay.
Ugh.
All right. So all 3 of you are now floating in these pink bubbles under the water. And you hear the sounds of bubbles all around you, and you don't see anyone else. But you are filled with that same euphoric feeling that you had when you were in the Griggly Gnome's Gap. And also when you ventured into the mountain. You've now realized this is the feeling you get when you are like deep in the divine. And you all have this moment where you realize like there is another one there with you. Look around as you might, you don't see them. It's just in this pink bubble floating in this water. You breathe fine. Everything is comfortable. You don't hear sounds, except you do hear your own breathing. And you each have a moment where you realize you can ask a question. John?
A connection to the divine is not something I'm very familiar with.
But if you are indeed out there listening, I must know how to save my brother.
All right. And you wake up. Sam?
Yeah, I feel like you kind of tricked me into this. Which also makes me feel like you really want me to ask a question and give you the answer.
And you wake up. Filner.
And so I
I think Filner's in a bit of a panic, and so his would go something like this. Why did Periso pick me? Why, Edgar? What? How do I help my friends? What does Donatus want?
Okay, you wake up and the water is starting to clear. The eye is gone, and Filnir jumps up from lying down, and you hear drums begin to play.
When you buy arrows, buy all that you can to fill your quiver in the dark of the fog and clouds. The great Filnir can see any armory will do, for it is the blades within us that keep us whole. Let us live. There is only the king. I may have come from a stone or from a tree, but your hour on Gilbrain can free all those who are living, and things fall and die. Need only of 20/20 vision to see 1,000 feet into the earth. Up is enough to keep, to find the keep of Lake and Hearth, where the wine is never sweet, but always dry, and cream puffs taste of lavender.
And then you can hear that drum resounding through the dome, and you can hear an echo that starts to repeat itself little by little by little, and you can hear Filnir's voice echoing in this room, and you start to piece it together, and then you hear it all together at one time as it bounces around the room, and this is what it sounds like.
When you arrow by to the clouds, see armory, the blades live. The king of your own can free all living things. 20 feet up is enough to keep Lake and Hearth dry.
And then Abel sits up with a start.
when you band together,
Clever
the many
bastard.
become one. Into the Kensington, Adair, Hark, Waterdeep, Jesus, Gaulis, Kagesset, Heretic Lows, Interior Space, Heights, Depths, Total Entropy on with 4. In those them therefore the wilds wither. Pyromancer Bezalith, talking as was known already. Charneled blades, forgotten souls and brick, earthstone can be, cannot be, filled, killed, tilled, wither in hush, flush, hiss, feet, mouth, fingers, hands, toes. Is trying to find a good place to God. For without that deity we all likely turn to ashes and sand and salt and rock. Build, destroy, engage. End all wars with spears and teleportation circles. And bridges and trails and rivers and boats.
And then you hear that resounding through, and it begins to clarify into another message that gets echoed.
When you band many to the Kagesset heights in the wilds, Bezalith is already charneled, bick, cannot be. Killed, wither in his hands. He is God. Rock. Build boats.
and then Jonas sits up with a start.
When you see all that war foments to the subjects of your crown in Adair, and Hark, and Lakeshire, and Monterre, in both store and tavern is where the good people will bow down guards. Fought bravely for Rella, who knew and knows Jesus was not dead. Trust all who err. On the side of the mountain, the octopus cannot live. In your city, the octopus does not sleep, or sit, or stand. She spreads lie into the soil, not once or twice, but she flooded the farms with it, until they turned the deepest blue and could not be tilled. Towers of grain could not hide and protect the people from starvation. Gilbrain, from all accounts, is a wasteland to outsiders who see distended bellies and all hope forgotten.
And then the message resounds back from the dome.
When you see foam to the Lakeshire tavern, Rella is dead. Trust her. The octopus cannot lie. Once flooded the blue towers, hide and protect Gilbrain from outsiders.
And that's where we're going to end episode 52. Everyone
Rella's
must
dead?
end.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? Seriously.
That was crazy cool. Fucking crazy. I'm gonna have to listen to that like 6 more times.
6 more, yeah.
Well,
We're gonna
just to
need
get
some
all the little messages.
transcripts. We're
Yeah,
gonna need
so-
some, but that was just incredible.
Maybe Tom will write it out for us in the bonus.
yeah, well, so, I will, as a prologue, as you sort of clear your heads, you didn't hear your own poems. You were sort of out of it. You just heard the echoes. But the items that you put on the sacrificial tables, even if you remove them, Filnir,
Yeah.
it has the long poems that you just read with bolded words occasionally on there. And it's all written in common and not undercommon. So you can read it easily and clearly. And I will post those, and I will we'll play them again in the bonus so that people can hear them. The echoed message.
Awesome.
That is the end of season 2, fellas. Congratulations.
In the
Wow.
center of the earth.
Yeah, we're stuck.
Oh,
We're
man.
stuck.
Yeah.
We're gonna have an epilogue episode, maybe.
Right.
I didn't say where you were when you woke up.
Oh, that's true.
Oh. Will you say now?
Wow.
You were in Lake and Hearth when you wake up.
Wow.
And you all wake up, and you are in your windmill, and Abel is in his hammock, and John is on the and Ionis is on the floor, and Filnir is sitting in a lounge chair, and Florin opens the door and says, "Get up, lazybones!" And he walks over to you with a tray, and there is a plate with a pastry, and plate with a stack of sausages, and a saucer with a cup of tea on it.
Well then. All right. Holy moly.
Hey, great job, Tom.
Hey,
Awesome.
thanks,
For bringing
man.
that one in for a landing. That
Thanks.
what a way to end it.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm excited. I'm you know how I feel about Ehi, but I didn't want you to get too close.
Just on the eye. That's it.
Yeah, just on the eye.
I guess I owe Nimrod a favor.
If you ever
We will
see him
see what
again.
happens.
If we ever see,
him
I was
again.
like,
Yeah.
we don't know
We-
where
we don't
anybody
know
else
what
is.
happened.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yep.
he got what he wanted.
Yep. Maybe.
And Kegaset is presumably gone. We'll figure that out.
When we come back, you're gonna have some figuring out even when this is.
Yeah, it sounds like Florin was not surprised to see us.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Florin was definitely not surprised to see you. Thanks everybody for listening. 2 seasons in, 52 episodes, countless bonus episodes.
Countless.
I mean, 51.
Well, no, because we did 2 sometimes
Character
between episodes at the beginning.
creations.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
enough
Sometimes we
D&D to
skipped them
understand this
too.
podcast.
So really countless because none of us
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
counted.
Yes, that was accounted.
What a milestone. I'm
Exactly.
so happy to have gotten this far with the 3 of you and also with all the people listening. Man, what a ride we've all been on together.
Yeah.
Man.
That's incredible. I'm looking forward to many more.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, sir.
Season
Definitely.
3, here we come.
Woo.
Do you
Here we
think
come.
you're going to get to level 20?
I
Yeah.
certainly
I think
hope so.
John will.
I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if Phil Neer and I are gonna make it, but I
Yeah.
feel like John will.
I'm
Yeah,
trying to
I'll
steamroll
see.
that bastard right there.
Oh man. All right, everybody. Toodaloo.
All right.
Come back soon. Listen to the,
We'll have
the
another
bonus
episode for you.
episode.
Right
Yep.
on schedule.
Yeah.
Maybe
you
we'll
go.
do some season ender Q&A, wrap up, bonus stuff.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
good.
That'd
Yeah.
be great.
That'd be
Subscribe to the Patreon if you want to listen in on some of that.
Yeah. And we'll catch you on the next one.
All right.
Toodaloo, everybody.
Toodaloo.